students of history would be advised to think about the reasons for war and what's necessary and what's lost.
A look back through the lens of the present.
It was one of the great unsung battles of World War II, fought in a place so remote that few people have set foot there in the past 75 years.
Our two-part series called Forgotten Battlefield finishes tonight with a look by Channel 2's Kyle Hopkins at the hidden caves, sunken ships, and massive artillery that can still be found on Alaska shores.
This trip to the end of the Aleutians was pretty amazing. It took us days on a Fish and Wildlife Service boat to reach the islands, and on Kiska particularly, it's like stepping back in time. Take a look.
Peering into a nearly forgotten chapter of Alaska history. During World War II, 18,000 men fought here on Alaska shores. Aleuts forced from their homes as Japanese seized entire islands in the Aleutians. It took Americans weeks of bloody hand-to-hand combat to win back Attu in May 1943.
Invasion boats filled with men and guns, determined to wrest the island from the enemy.
You see historical videos of the Americans landing on Attu to take back the island. This is where it happened.
Americans cornered the Japanese, who carried out a suicidal banzai charge.
The commanding officer was killed, and so most of the rest of them thought that they would die with honor, so they basically committed suicide, many of them holding hand grenades up to their chests.
The final death toll, more than 500 Americans and 2,300 Japanese. Frostbite and the wet Aleutian cold claimed many of the American casualties, trained in California, unprepared for the Alaska weather. Those same conditions and the remote location combined to make these islands living World War II museums.
It's not in a warm climate like much of the Battle of the Pacific was, where the tropics kind of like rotted wood or rusted metal beyond recognition. So these cold environments kind of saved a lot of the condition of these places.
Attu later became a U.S. Coast Guard station with a massive runway.
Really wasn't operational until really late.
And a destination for adventurous bird watchers.
Kiska, again in American hands, is a new stepping stone to Tokyo.
The island of Kiska is another story.
It's a kind of a place frozen in time with all the leftover armaments from the World War II and the Battle of Kiska.
I mean, it's a remarkable place that very few Americans will ever see.
Nancy Lord is a writer from Homer. Like us, she is visiting the islands for the first time, part of a fish and wildlife expedition.
One of the things on Kiska that we examined was a submarine base where the Japanese had these two-person submarines, mini subs, and one of them was still on land where it had been kind of on a launch base.
Car-sized craters pepper the tundra, scars left by Allied bombs. And just offshore, the bones of Japanese ships.
There's like 8 wrecked ships in the harbor. This is the Borneo Maru. It's a Japanese transport ship. It was bombed in the war and ended up here on the beach.
Rusting artillery that once fired on U.S. forces, searching for targets in the clouds.
You can visualize the aspects of dive bombers coming out of the fog, attacking the Japanese. You know, the guns are right there with their anti-aircraft guns shooting back up.
This is a 75 millimeter Type 88 Japanese anti-aircraft gun.
It might be 75 years ago, but you can get the sense real quick in one short little visit of it was yesterday.
Japanese soldiers lived on this Alaska island for 14 months, one day escaping under the veil of fog.
It says 43 right there, 1943.
But since then, few people have set foot here.
There was a whole pile of boot soles that, when you see these sort of really human effects, it really strikes you, that there were people there, many thousands of people.
Fewer still know its secrets, like this hidden fortress of caves, an underground city that Japanese forces dug into the hillside by hand, an effort to escape Allied bombs. Countless tunnels, some so small you have to crawl.
Kind of amazing, huh?
You just slide in and it's just like you disappear and you're like, is this safe? And then I got to the T there, kind of where you started breathing hard. And you're like, is this safe? Is this okay?
6-inch shells.
Relics of a battle that both sides wanted to forget.
Now, for this story, we really wanted to give you a sense of what it's like to actually be on these islands. And so we're trying something new. If you go to ktuu.com right now or look at our Facebook page, you'll see we've posted a virtual reality or 360-degree video that is a mini tour of the places we visited, including those caves. On Facebook, you can move your phone around to see what's happening in every direction. And if you open the video through the YouTube link on our website, you can try watching it through a virtual reality headset like this one. And that is all on ktuu.com right now.
All right, that was a fascinating trip, Kyle.
That was incredible. I haven't seen all the video, but those caves are just intense.
Did he tell you anything that made the biggest impression on him when he was there?
He just like the remoteness and how long it took them to get there. He's not, he's a southeast boy, but
Right.
but being on those ships, but still he was like kind of struck by
It's way
the
out there.
waves and the isolation and everything like that. But it is absolutely just beautiful too.
Beautiful and kind of haunting too.
Yeah,
It
really.
is.
Yeah.
So,